today we are looking at the AFV Vulcan Series 2.5-inch to 3-inch single-side exit exhaust system with the black tips fitting all 2022 and newer Toyota Tundras. Now with the third gen being twin turboed, it's really hard not to get addicted to the sound of your truck. But if you want to add to that joy, when you hit the pedal with an exhaust system that's going to give you a deep aggressive presence without the obnoxious volume, this is going to be it. Now this thing will sound aggressive, but it's not going to be that loud at a 2 out of 5 on the loudness meter, with 1 being stock and 5 being Wake the Neighbors loud, which will be great if you cruise in your truck a lot and want a little sound at takeoff, but a quiet ride otherwise. It's also got a sporty dual tip look on the back to finish the look of your truck with something a little bit cooler, considering the factory tailpipe is anything but that. Now, like I said, this system is not too loud, which I think is a great feature if you're a fan of the deepness in tone, not exterior or interior volume for that matter, because there is a big difference between the two. Now, the tone here will be much lower than factory, but also it's going to be mellow, being mufflered without taking away the quality of the sound. Now, while it will have a tougher sound, it's not going to have all that crackling and popping, similar to the effect of a more aggressive or bolder system would have. Good if you don't need or like that style. Now, it also brings out the turbo sound much more clearly than the factory exhaust. And speaking of the turbos, it's also going to help with exhaust flow with the relief of back pressure, which is going to help the system breathe better, improving the drivability of your truck, even if it is in small doses. Now from flange to tip, this will have a 304 stainless steel construction, providing very efficient rust resistance thanks to the higher quality stainless. Now the 4-inch dual tips on the back, those are going to have a high heat black coating with a more satin finish to them, and the coating is mainly there for the looks, considering the material underneath is very tough and honestly tough enough by itself, but it's going to resist any weathering even in the toughest of climates, coating or not. Now that coating does help with the surface scratching of any kick-up or any debris or obstacles that you may encounter if you are off-road, which is helpful. So there is a bonus in the finish along with the more sporty look that you're getting. Now the tip on the back is also welded, which makes for a cleaner no clamp look if you prefer that, and keeps it in place rather than having to worry about it moving around. Now all of the piping is also mandrel bent and will help out with the airflow of the system, streamlining it thanks to the manufacturing process, and the exhaust system is going to taper down from a dual 2.5-inch pipe configuration to a 3-inch single system, again helping out with the flow and the back pressure of this system. Now this is going to be roughly $1,600 when it comes to the price, which is going to track for a high quality exhaust system. And I think the big upside to this system is the sound if you want a quiet but deep system, which is sometimes really hard to find, especially one with such an even and well-balanced tone that this one has. Now, I technically can't say that the material here is going to last forever, but what I will say is that the quality of 304 is going to be very close to that. So with those two key features in mind that this has, and also adding in that tough look for show, this is going to be a solid option if you want to check all of those boxes. Now this kit comes with all of the band clamps that you need to put this together, extension piping depending on your bed size, and the hangers are going to be more of a factory style with flared edges, so they're going to stay in place. Now with that being said, this is going to be a lighter 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter though. You will need to let the axle droop in the back in order to get that factory piping out, so you'll need a lift or a jack to jack up the back of your truck. Now I would say that it's going to take about 2 hours or so to complete with some fairly basic hand tools, but if you have a specialty exhaust tool, it is going to make it go much smoother. However, at this point, it's time to actually show you how to install this, so that's going to wrap it up for me. Let's go ahead and kick it over to one of our installers to show you how it's done.
First install, you need a 3/8 impact, extension, swivel, 15 and 14 millimeter socket, exhaust hanger tool, and also not shown be a lift and pole jack.
All right, today we're going to be installing the exhaust on our Tundra. First, we're going to watch a quick video how to uninstall a stock system, then we'll come back in here to do the new one.
All right guys, for the first step of the uninstall, we're going to grab a 14 millimeter socket, a swivel socket, and an extension, and we're going to remove these 2 nuts. Next, we'll grab a hanger removal tool. We're gonna remove this hanger out of the isolator. Now we can let this hang. We're gonna go up to our middle isolator and we're gonna remove that over there. Now I'm gonna have one hand holding on to the exhaust and the other to remove this isolator. Once that's popped out of place, we can slide our tube out of these studs. And we're gonna snake this out over the axle. And now we can snake our pipe over our axle. Just gonna snake it out. Now we can move on to the front part of the pipe. So now I have my 14mm socket, swivel socket, and extension, and we're gonna remove these two bolts out of the flange. Now we're gonna move over to the other side and do that same thing. Next, we'll be removing these two hangers. I have my pull jack to hold up the exhaust. So now I have my exhaust hanger removal. We're gonna remove these hangers. Now we have one more in the back, and then once that's done, our exhaust will be removed. Now using that same tool, we're going to remove our last hanger. Make sure you hold up the end of the exhaust. Now I'm going to lower down my pull jack. Move it out of the way. Now we can remove.
All right, so we're gonna start installing our new exhaust. We're gonna start with our front flange pipe here with our Y on it. Now you see I have a pull jack here just to help hold everything up. We'll get this to our driver's side flange. Now we're gonna grab our spring bolts that we took off. Now you would just thread yours in. Our nuts have broken off the back. We just have nuts that are just gonna thread on, but you would just thread these straight in once you get everything lined up. Side on. We can go ahead and leave that loose for now, and we'll go ahead and get our other flange pipe on. Now we have our pass drive flange pipe. We want to grab our smallest of our clamps. Just let that rest over there for now. We're gonna get this up in position into our Y pipe first. Go. And we're gonna get our flange lined up and get our bolts started. All right, and get our spring bolts threaded in. Now we can go ahead and tighten down our flange bolts. Now, like I said, this side is broken for us, so I do have a wrench to hold it back, but you just have your impact, extension, swivel, and 14mm socket. We'll do the same thing on the other side. All right, next after our Y pipe, we have our pipe with our two hangers here. Now, since we have a Crew Max with 5.5 foot bed, we're not using any extension pipe. So I'm gonna grab our two hangers and slide them onto our pipe here. They're nice and easy just to pop off the truck. Grab one of our clamps, slide that over. All right, and we're gonna slide over our Y pipe and onto our hangers. And you get some more movement on this. Once you get that right, get everything lined up, just like that. All right, next we have our muffler. So we have our one hanger on the back here. We're gonna get this up in place and get our isolator on. All right, so we have the start of our over the axle pipe now. We have our hanger that's gonna go into this isolator here and into the back of our muffler. We have one of our 3-inch clamps already in there. Get this on our isolator and in our muffler at the same time. There we go. So we have our second half of over the axle pipe. We have our clamp on there. We're just gonna fish it up over, around, and into our other pipe here. Just kind of gotta find the right angle. And you can let that hang there. Lastly, we have our tip. So we got our clamp on. We're gonna get this in our over the axle pipe and into our hanger right here. Once we get that all set through, now we'll leave this hanging down and we'll go ahead and start tightening everything down, starting from the front, working our way backwards. All right, so we already tightened down our front two flanges. So we have our exhaust clamps here. So they're all 15mm nuts. So we have our impact 15mm socket. Go ahead and tighten them down. One after the Y pipe here. All right, so now we have our clamp in the front of our muffler. As you can see, I have a pole jack holding up the muffler to keep it level. Let's tighten this down. Keep moving on, we're gonna go to the back of our muffler. All right, now this one might be hard to see, but it is the one over the axle. All right, lastly we just have our tips. You will need to rotate, hold it in place while you tighten down our last clamp here. All right, tighten this down all the way. And that wraps up our install of our AFE Vulcan Series 2.5-inch to 3 single exhaust system with black tips for a side exit for our 2022 and newer Tundra. And remember, for everything Tundra, keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.